No, God will protect me.
Robyn's 5-word reply detonated Kody's ego on national TV, and the producers hope you never notice why.
Is there anything I can do to protect you from this?
No, God will protect me.
All right.
Even before they step onto the tell-all set, Kody turns to Robyn and asks if there's anything he can do to shield her from what's coming. It looks caring and thoughtful at first glance, but psychologically, it reveals something deeper. Kody's drive is to feel significant, to matter, to be needed. And by offering protection, he's really looking for validation that he still has a vital role to play.
No, God will protect me.
That's why Robyn's answer is so revealing. No, God's got me covered. On its face, it sounds like a gentle, faith-filled response. But what it really says is that his help isn't required. She's already covered by someone greater. For a man wired like Kody, whose biggest fear is becoming irrelevant, that's a subtle yet powerful blow to his ego. And Robyn has framed her response in a way that can't be challenged, without making him look disrespectful. Wrapped in piety, her rejection is virtually bulletproof. Kody can't push back without seeming like he's picking a fight with her beliefs. It's a small moment, but one that perfectly captures their dynamic. Kody perpetually looking for roles that make him feel central, and Robyn, intentionally or not, denying him those roles with careful language that leaves him nowhere to go.
I think after we moved to Flagstaff, all of us were seeing fractures in the family culture.
By the time they leave their driveway, she's already destabilized him, priming him to enter the tell-all feeling off balance and reactive. It's why, when they do sit down for the taping, Kody misdirects his bruised ego toward the other wives. Instead of seeing the subtle cut Robyn gave him, he displaces that pain and anger elsewhere.
That she can speak Kody and we can't.
That pattern is consistent across their relationship. Kody is forever reaching for reassurance and significance. And Robyn responds with remarks that subtly undercut him, all carefully framed so they seem kind or spiritual. It's a quiet, skillful manipulation, and it keeps him continually grasping for her approval. And it's why their marriage will always remain tense.
Do you think Kody is a failure in not making those marriages work?
I feel like we're all failures, not just Kody. I think that's funny because it takes two.
Kody can't feel central with someone who doesn't truly admire him, and Robyn can only sustain the dynamic as long as it serves her. Once she stops feeding his need to be important, the entire structure will collapse. When that happens, the fallout will be harsh, because Robyn's worship was never real, and Kody will realize too late that he was valued only as long as he played his part. They always tell you to keep the peace with family, but Janelle just proved why that's complete nonsense.
I don't like them in that setting. I just don't like them. I don't want to be friends with them.
And that, right there, was some absolute queen energy. Somebody put that on a t-shirt. Kody must have been fuming when he heard it. The sheer indifference of Janelle shrugging and saying there's no reason, she simply doesn't like them as people and would never choose to be friends with them, was perfection. And my second favorite mic drop, if I had courted him for a year, I probably wouldn't have married him. Absolutely iconic. Team Teflon Queen forever.
Grandpa used to always say you should know somebody for 4 seasons.
Plural marriage is a scary subject for me now.
And let's not forget Robyn's whole you need to know someone for 4 seasons before deciding thing. Did Robyn spend 4 full seasons with her sister's boyfriend before hooking up with him and getting pregnant? It's poetic justice, and Kody must be losing his mind.
I don't feel a lot of obligation or loyalty to Kody right now. So I'm like, say what you want to say, I don't care.
Christine is absolutely justified in her anger after the way Kody abandoned her and their minor child. She has every right to feel resentful. But what's even more powerful is that Janelle doesn't give him 1 ounce of energy anymore. That must drive him up the wall. The one wife he loved most after Robyn couldn't care less. Total indifference is exactly what burns a narcissist the most. That's what's so satisfying to see. Janelle is unbothered and focused on the future, her kids and grandkids. No hate, just complete dismissal. That's a power move if there ever was one. And it's true, you don't have to like everyone in your family. Blood isn't a free pass to your life. No one is obligated to be friends with people they don't respect, especially an ex. Sometimes, I just don't like them is all the reason you need. Kody thrives on control and emotional reactions. What Janelle is doing, ignoring him and leaving him with nothing, is exactly how you take power away from someone like him. Don't open the door even a crack, because a narcissist will kick it all the way in.
Do you understand that you lie? That's the reason I call you the Teflon Queen. Because you're lying about what has happened and what's been.
Janelle is showing everyone how to do it right. No trash talking, no explaining, just dismiss and move on. That's how you disable a narcissist. And thank you, Janelle, for keeping it classy. They ought to appreciate that she's chosen dignity over spilling every harsh truth, because you just know she could. Hashtag Teflon Queen forever. Here's what no one wants to admit about Kody Brown's marriages. His ex-wives didn't just leave, they leveled up the second he was out of the picture. Christine managed to say something that was both kind of cool and wildly embarrassing for Kody.
There's been a lot of moments, I feel, where Kody has been emotionally so withdrawn from Meri, but Meri has
Hope.
a lot of hope.
I think you have hope and you have hope and you have hope.
When someone asked what Kody was so scared of when it came to Meri, Christine acknowledged Meri's growth and strength, which is great, but also hilarious for Kody. Imagine every person who left you becoming their best, most self-actualized self, simply because they escaped you. That's mortifying. Every one of these women is thriving after leaving him, except Robyn, who, in true irony, is aging like milk and looks more miserable by the day.
We've never had as many problems as we're having right now in our marriage. He's suspicious of anybody being disloyal to him. He's directing that at me.
That perma-frown of hers never goes away. Even when she tries to smile, it looks like a grimace. It's sad that this gloominess seems to rub off on her kids, too. From the outside, she and Kody look equally miserable. Karma's real. You reap what you sow.
And when I was in labor with Truly, I was sitting there in the hospital and Kody and Dr. Bean were talking about Meri's infertility issues.
So who would you recommend for a fertility doctor?
Poor Meri, I can't even imagine what those childbearing years were like. Feeling like a failure for her infertility, watching all the other wives have babies one after the next. Every miscarriage, every negative doctor's visit, every joyful birth must have felt like a gut punch. Of course she was difficult sometimes, who wouldn't be? I'd love to put all the escaped wives in a room together. They'd probably realize most of their strife was fueled by Kody stirring up trouble and playing them against each other.
The third wife, it was easy. The first wife and the second wife had already worked all the glitches out, and I would just come in.
And then there's Christine's dig wrapped in sugar, this comment about not knowing if Meri would be easy or hard. It had absolutely nothing to do with the issue at hand, namely that Kody refused to have a straightforward conversation with Meri about their marriage. Being easy or hard doesn't excuse a grown man from discussing his own relationship.
I was married to him for 27 years, all right? Every time that guy got sick, it was like the whole world revolved around his being sick.
And let's not forget, Christine had her faults too. Even she admitted that her entire life once revolved around Kody, often putting him before her kids. That's just as messed up as anything Meri did. What was Meri supposed to do? Stay upbeat forever while being gaslit and ignored?
And she's going, well, you're a coward. Well, no. I'm not a coward.
Janelle hit the nail on the head. Kody was scared because he's a coward. End of story. Honestly, nobody would have been their best self under Kody's thumb, and that's exactly the point. Here's the truth nobody in Sister Wives wanted you to know. Kody and Robyn were shaking down the other wives for every dollar.
And, it wasn't until I sat there and had a conversation with Kody and Robyn and my accountant showing them, this is how I've contributed.
It was so telling when Meri revealed that she and her accountant had to sit down with Kody and Robyn just to prove every penny was going into the family pot.
Because I think that he thought that I was keeping money from him or from the family. I'm like, no, let me show you what I have contributed.
That detail says it all. They were scrutinizing the other wives' money and making sure nothing was held back. It also explains why they were so upset when Janelle kept her side earnings for herself.
And Janelle doesn't say much, and she's very tight-lipped. And how much money Kody took and how much money Robyn took was a lot more than you were taking.
And it's obvious Robyn was the one orchestrating it. Robyn had a lot of nerve making Meri account for every dollar when she was likely benefiting the most. It's like she was that friend who'd borrow your favorite perfume and pretend it was hers 2 weeks later, or wear a special necklace she just happened to come across, complete with a made-up story about where it came from.
He just always somehow thinks he's somehow entitled to more.
That moment spoke volumes about what was happening after Christine left. Clearly, Kody and Robyn were panicking about money. Meri was put in a position where she either had to prove her loyalty by handing over every penny, or they directly pressured her to do it. Kody had his side gun business. There's no indication that money was going back into the pot. Robyn had no income outside of the show after Sister Wives Closet failed. Of course they were looking for someone to make up the shortfall.
And it's glaring how nobody questioned this setup at the time. Meri was expected to contribute more simply because she had fewer kids, despite being pushed to the margins. Janelle and Christine weren't earning substantial incomes themselves before real estate and MLMs took off. Everyone just assumed Meri owed the most because of her empty nest.
So I'm gonna go talk to Meri. I know she's an adult and she's capable. To Coyote Pass, that the deadline is imminent. If we don't pay, we could lose everything.
Janelle even pushed Meri to help pay off Coyote Pass, not because it was fair, but because they were all at risk of losing the property if someone didn't cover the balance. Yet none of them were willing to put up their own money when it came to Meri's B&B. They all expected to co-own it one day despite never investing in it themselves.
But Meri did say that she helped, but she just said she didn't get any help in return, that she put her kids.
Throughout, nobody cared what Meri was going through. They just expected her to pay up. They called it therapy. Here's what that Sedona circle really exposed about Kody and Robyn.
We talked about you guys all being in a therapy session, and the whole family was together in Sedona.
We're actually going to go to a marriage retreat in Sedona, Arizona.
In the tell-all, they flashed back to the Sedona counseling session, the one where all the wives, except Robyn, were clearly struggling to figure out their places in the family. What's especially striking is that Kody was holding Robyn's hand the entire time. No wonder she didn't move an inch to define her role. It's surprising this detail hasn't been acknowledged before.
This process won't be easy, but it's going to help us make progress.
It's also surprising that the therapist didn't catch it. Given the outcome, it seems like the session didn't help much and may have only encouraged everyone to use therapy speak against each other.
A while ago, Christine and I went to Galveston, Texas.
That Sedona session, the Galveston trip, and then years of financial and emotional strain caused by Kody clearly took a serious toll on everyone. Robyn never seemed invested in polygamy, and the dynamic left the other wives and the older children in difficult positions.
Because Sedona was where I understood how little I mattered.
This is very awkward.
No, I don't want to talk about it. It was the worst part of the trip for me.
Christine's reaction during the session was strong. She was clearly upset during filming and again later on the couch. Even then, she mostly kept her thoughts to herself, saying only that it hurt her and that she hated the experience.
I feel like I need to get to know Nancy a little bit better. I am still hesitant at the idea of someone who hasn't had the experience with the plural family.
And another telling detail. Robyn did a confessional before that session, saying she thought Nancy was too aggressive. The next day, she was too sick to participate in therapy. It's difficult to overlook how she withdrew when faced with even minor criticism. Never praise Kody's Flagstaff relocation. Here's why it was doomed the moment they signed the papers.
The house that Robyn's been renting here in Flagstaff is being put up for sale.
Looking back at those early Flagstaff days is honestly eye-opening. They kept claiming the move was going to be amazing, then almost immediately admitted it wasn't going as planned. It was harder than they thought. The financial rewards weren't there, and everything was playing out exactly as predicted.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you don't live in the house, so you're misunderstanding me.
Kody was furious at the idea of renting a house for Robyn closer to Sedona. He acted devastated at the thought of not seeing his kids every day. Yet fast forward to now, and that concern has all but disappeared. Where is that hands-on dad energy? What a wasted opportunity. Having adult kids could have been a chance for a deeper, different kind of connection.
I want to give a shout out to Kody because he is amazing when you are giving birth.
And don't forget, he was so excited about Evie being born. He even flew there just to make the birth. Back in Vegas, they couldn't stand living more than a few blocks apart, but somehow thought moving miles away from each other in Flagstaff would work. Plus, they bought raw land without doing any real research.
I'm tired of moving. And I have to move in 6 weeks.
After all these moves, it's incredible they still make the same mistakes. Watching this all unfold, it often felt like Kody's goal was to create chaos and keep the wives separate. But maybe that's too generous. It could just be that he's truly that clueless. And let's be real, this was Robyn's plan all along. She wanted to be near Dayton while he was in college. Whether the other wives knew and went along with it or were kept in the dark, it was Kody and Robyn's decision.
Kody even had mentioned, maybe we should buy. And I'm like, I do not want to buy.
And all that drama about renting versus buying, pure theater. Robyn clearly wanted that big house. She just had to act like it was some painful sacrifice for the cameras and everyone else. Here's what TLC never showed you about Robyn's COVID power grab and why it blew the Brown family apart. What TLC goes live in their Andra Max, the website's location.
Yes. But they're very frustrated. They feel like there's been a real preference for Robyn. And so this thing with COVID now where he's now at her house because she's willing to follow his rules.
In COVID episodes, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why nobody ever calls Robyn out. She's so full of it, and it's maddening. How do the other three just sit there, twiddling their thumbs?
And if I did, I certainly wouldn't have chosen what we have chose through COVID. I would have made us sit down.
It's glaringly obvious who's actually in charge, yet she always deflects blame onto the deadbeat dad. I'm not even gonna say his name. Like we can't see what's really going on. Someone needs to whack her with a metal chair.
And find a compromise about how to handle COVID together as a family. That's what I would have done.
Her kids are no more special than anyone else's, but don't tell her that. Her so-called tender kids and their fragile feelings have been the perfect excuse to monopolize Kody's time. Even before and after she finally got her house, she pulled him further and further away from the rest of the family.
It's your decision. The whole COVID quarantine is your decision.
COVID was just the perfect cover for her long game. Once she had him all to herself, it was brainwashing 101, making sure he never left for too long or she'd have to reprogram him. Her little Ari was the perfect excuse to keep him close, allowing full-blown tantrums just to hold him there. Meanwhile, the other kids could wait their turn, like they didn't matter. And don't even get started on the money. Robyn wanted control of the finances and the freedom to spend without prying eyes. She also kept her older kids isolated, whispered into Kody's ear to meddle in other marriages, and convinced him to believe her version of reality. In her eyes, her core family was the center of everything, and everyone else was just scenery.
When I would have conversations with her about our relationship, it was too uncomfortable for her. She didn't like having those conversations, and yet...
God forbid Kody spend time elsewhere. She'd lose her grip. Even when Christine finally hit her breaking point and left, Kody acted like she'd betrayed him by leaving, when he never really wanted to be with her. And don't even mention him expecting her to stay just for show. Absolutely ridiculous. If they'd stayed in Vegas, sure, maybe Christine would have had a support system. But out there, completely alone. The whole thing is maddening. Kody's clueless, Robyn's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, and somehow they expected Christine to take all of this and smile. It's exhausting just watching it all play out. Another wild chapter decoded. Help us hit 1,000 likes if you're loving these deep dives. I'm Elena. This is Reality Nexus X. See you soon.